Tonight, as the Coyotes rolled into Toronto, we got a big game because after 85 days, it was the return of Joseph Woll in net. It was also a game that saw the return of Kerfoot to Toronto, Matthews scoring his 53rd goal, and it's still technically February. He's now on pace for a ridiculous 74 goals. We also had a good scrap between O'Brien and Reaves, and we saw Mitch Marner playing defense. But on top of it all, the Maple Leafs also had a chance to achieve something they hadn't since 2002, specifically October 17th of 2002, which, by the way, just so happens to be the birthday of Arizona-born Matthew Knies. But it was also the last time the Maple Leafs beat the Arizona Coyotes at home in regulation. It's been 22 years. And so, looking to break the trend, let's get to it. Now, it took nearly 8 minutes to even get a shot on goal as both teams were just missing them early. But then on the rush, Holmberg over to Giordano, and it's a big stop, but in the process, Giordano went hard into the boards and he stayed down. Now, this came after making a great effort to join the rush and nearly scoring, but the outcome, rough for Leafs fans. Already struggling in the D department, he would leave the game. And from here, things would definitely heat up a bit. Domi getting one to the face from Dumba, then a little retaliation on the bench, which no penalties out of any of it, but shortly after, and it's a turnover, which leads to Marner all alone, but he drops it for Knies, who scores. A beautiful setup from Marner here, but imagine this goes wrong. Nevertheless, Knies, the Arizona native, scores against the Coyotes to put the Leafs on the board. And while there were some good chances both ways, Marner ripping it off the crossbar here. With about 2 to go, Reaves would catch Valimaki, which would lead to a bit of a scrum in the corner, spicing things up a bit. And while nothing came of it immediately, on the very next face-off, it's O'Brien and Reaves at center ice, and it was a pretty good scrap, as Reaves would eventually wrestle him down. And I love this lady in the back here, but I'm sure you Leafs fans are happy to see this from Reaves. I'll tell you what, the boys on the bench certainly were. But with that though, it was about it for the first, so we'll head over to the middle frame. And right out of the gate, it's Lagesson on net and they score. Just 65 seconds in, it's Bertuzzi in front, redirecting a nice one here, and the man is heating up. It's now 6 in 7 games as he makes it a 2-goal game. A few minutes later now, and it's McCabe shaken up. Another D-man as he was trying to put a hit on Zucker here and tweaked something as he was clearly in pain on the bench, and he would leave the game. Now down to just 4 D-man, a little chat on the bench, and Marner was up as he played defense for a decent chunk of this game. There's some shots of him getting direction on the bench, which was kind of cool to see. And feeling the urgency, the Leafs were definitely the busier team early, getting several good chances as Ingram was tested, but Arizona brought it right back, getting a few of their own. As we neared the midway point of the game, it's Nylander finding Matthews, and of course he does. Another Arizona boy getting his 53rd of the year. I mean, he was due for another goal. It's been a whole 2-game drought, but no, really. 53, and it's still technically February, as he's now on pace for a ridiculous 74 goals. And the Leafs were all over Arizona now, pushing hard, eventually leading to the first penalty of the game as Kesselring called for interference. And so the number 1 power play in the league, give it up as it's Kerfoot all alone and he scores. Backhand to forehand, and it's shorthanded as the former Maple Leaf with the revenge goal made it a 2-goal game. The Coyotes would proceed to kill off the rest of it, and they got a little life out of it, getting a few great looks. Having said that though, the second would eventually come to an end, but we now had ourselves a hockey game going into the third. And right out of the gate, it's Bjugstad with a power move to the net, which was dangerous, but stopped. But again, the Coyotes were definitely pushing, trying to get back in it. Stetcher off the bar here, and then Valimaki to Michelli, again off the post, but this time they score. It's Cooley picking up the loose change, scores his 9th to make it a 1-goal game. And the Yotes were putting on plenty of pressure in the third, outshooting the Maple Leafs 13-14. 4 for the period. But as time was ticking away, they would eventually call a timeout. They pulled Ingram and went right back to work as Woll was forced to make some big stops, nursing a late period lead. But finally, Nylander gets it, and from way back, he puts it into the empty net to just about seal it now. But with the net still empty, it's Bertuzzi along the wing, and he puts it off the post. I mean, I know he scored earlier, but this was just kind of comical. Regardless, though, the Maple Leafs, after 22 years, would take it at home against the Arizona Coyotes in a 3-2 hockey game. And immediately after the game, it was announced that they were now trading for Ilya Lyubushkin from the Ducks to fill a bit of a void, to say the least, defensively. So I guess we'll see what comes of that. But yeah, that's about it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it very much, and I will see you in the next one.